There is a tweet out there, actually a TikTok, that I wanted to share with you guys as well, of Sam Bankman Fried sighting. I thought this was fake news, but apparently it's actually a real thing, guys.
Yep.
That is Sam
actually
Bankman Fried
backpack. Yep.
waddling around in the Bahamas, free and clear. I don't know what he's doing, why he's running, but it's very interesting.
No questions.
Running from?
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating. I mean, you have the developer of Tornado Cash still sitting in jail and will be in jail for at least the next 90 days just for writing a piece of code that he open sourced on the internet. He's sitting in jail, and this clown is still running around in a multi-million-dollar mansion. How? I mean, it really is. It's just a slap in the face to if you don't know somebody, people.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's globalist privilege. It's a thing.
Man.
If you know the right people, you're able to slip out of any situation.
Hey, soldiers, Sam Bankman Fried is trying to waddle his way out of accountability for his alleged misdeeds. We've got him. You saw him just, running down the street. I don't know what he was running from. And they made mention while that was taped in the Bahamas, he is still residing in a multi-million-dollar residence. This one owned by his parents while he awaits trial. But he attempted just today to get most of the charges against him dropped. A good portion of them dropped. So we just got to cover this. We're going to keep our eyes focused on Sam Bankman Fried until the end. All right. So go ahead, hit subscribe, enlist, become a soldier of finance. Let me know you did so in the comments. I will salute you. I really need you all to hit that thumbs up. And you guys are doing such a great job of hitting that thumbs up. It is helping the channel. Please help the channel by hitting thumbs up. Spread this message throughout the YouTube community. Bring in more soldiers. This is your way of recruiting to the soldiers of finance. All right, so Sam Bankman Fried, he had his lawyers go into court today and seek dismissal of criminal charges cast against him. And he wants to be known as a positive force in crypto, okay? Delusional? Maybe. Crazy like a fox? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Sam Bankman Fried, the founder and former CEO of FTX and Alameda, is seeking to have nearly all criminal charges against him dismissed. SBF's legal team filed a series of 7 pre-trial motions with the Southern District Court in New York late Monday. Now, that was yesterday for me, the 8th of May, which argue for the dismissal of all but 3 of the charges he faces at his October criminal trial. And while the legal arguments are specific to each charge, the documents also outline a broader narrative which mirrors recent arguments by Coinbase, Ripple, and others that the U.S. government is unfairly attacking crypto to cover up their own regulatory failures. My dog, he's incensed about what's going on in crypto. I think he invested in crypto and got burned. Now he's mad at me. Okay, I can't believe it. All right, so basically, in this is kind of weird, but I'm no lawyer. They're saying, look, government, you're at fault. You should put yourself on trial because it is you, government, who failed to create a regulatory environment that may have stopped my client from doing the things you are alleging that he did. The motions group the charges according to their grounds for dismissal, with some focusing on the terms of SBF's extradition from the Bahamas and others arguing a lack of evidence of a clear offense or improper discovery. Now, look, guys, don't take this kind of stuff for granted. He's got some of the best lawyers that money can buy. All right. So, while this may seem like something that's just routine, perfunctory, okay, just going through the motions, the intent by these attorneys is to have this entertained seriously and get him off the hook. All right. One motion seeks to dismiss 4 charges related to Bankman Fried's activities at FTX and Alameda, including conspiracy, bank and wire fraud charges, arguing that the addition of these charges after extradition, quote, violates the treaty's rules of speciality provision, unquote. All right. Which holds that the U.S. should only try SBF on the charges for which they were extradited. Okay. This is getting deep into the legal weeds, but you know, everybody hates lawyers until you need one. And if you can afford these guys, you just might keep your freedom. Another motion seeks to dismiss 4 charges related to, quote, conspiracy to defraud the United States, unquote, and other wire fraud and conspiracy charges, arguing that the Justice Department has failed to state an adequate offense to support these counts. All right, guys, Damian Williams, he's the prosecutor up there in New York, the federal prosecutor in that office. He's the head honcho there. I'm sure he's looking at this very carefully, because if they can crack the, wall of allegations and get these charges dismissed, let's say the judge comes in and says, hey, lawyers, I agree with you. Let's just go ahead and dismiss these charges. Then that would mean that Caroline Ellison, Gary Wang, there's another gentleman that was a technology officer. His name escapes me at the moment, but there have been folk who have pled guilty. All right. Can you imagine if Sam Bankman Fried were to get off and these people who have pled guilty end up going to prison? Okay. And this also has to have folk that may have been entertaining pleading guilty on pause. Let's see how this works out first. And if Sam can get off, maybe I can too. Okay. So if you're one of the people that pled guilty, man, you're sitting there like, what's happening? I might go to jail or prison and he might skate. Yeah, it's a distinct possibility. The only charges the motions do not seek to dismiss are 3 counts of conspiracy to commit commodities fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Though Bankman Fried has pled not guilty to those charges as well. So they're not seeking to dismiss those, still planning on fighting those, but aggressively challenging what has been alleged thus far. Perhaps the most revealing information in the pretrial motions is the picture they attempt to paint of the U.S. government's role in the problems that have plagued the broader crypto industry, which aligns FTX and which aligns FTX and SBF with other beleaguered crypto firms. In 2022, the entire cryptocurrency sector underwent tremendous shocks due to a broad market crash dubbed the crypto winter. They wrote, saying that every major participant, including exchanges, banks, lenders, and hedge funds, unquote, suffered massive losses and many went bankrupt during the year. FTX, the non-US exchange founded by Mr. Bankman Fried and others, lasted far longer, paying back billions to customers and lenders during the course of the year, but ultimately succumbed to the same market forces, filing for bankruptcy on November 11th, 2022. So again, they're trying to paint him as, hey, look, he did better than a lot of these guys. He kept things going. Government's going to come back and say, yeah, with smoke and mirrors. We are charging him with fraud, mind you. Maybe that's what contributed to him staying out there longer. The lawyers characterized as, quote, dramatic and troubling the ensuing actions taken by the U.S. government. Rather than wait for traditional civil and regulatory processes following their ordinary course to address the situation, the government jumped in with both feet, improperly seeking to turn these civil and regulatory issues into federal crimes. Now, that would be consistent with what we've been saying in terms of the war on crypto, that the United States government is using several of its agencies to wage, right? We've been over that ad nauseum. You even have Elizabeth Warren and other congressmen and senators coming out and being very upfront about the fact that they don't like crypto and they're trying to really curtail it. We're going to link to some of that so you can go back in the stack and see what was going on, the talk around that. In a classic rush to judgment, the government brought the original indictment against Mr. Bankman Fried on December 9th, 2022, less than a month after FTX's bankruptcy, doing so before they could review evidence related to their case, including detailed financial records of FTX and their various counterparties. All right, so it goes on in great detail, just explaining how, you know what? You guys, the government, you're trying to put this all on our client, on Sam Bankman Fried. But in fact, if we really examine it, it is you, government, you that precipitated this situation. And then you tried to hang my client out there to dry, blame it all on him. So do I think that these charges are going to be dismissed? I don't. I don't think they all will. Okay. You got to understand that the fix is in, and I believe, based on what I have heard. Now, I know good and doggone well these are allegations, and he has a presumption of innocence with the courts. But I believe, based on what I have been privy to, that he is guilty. Okay. Interestingly, all these motions make no mention of Sam Bankman Fried's multiple meetings with SEC Chair Gary Gensler or the U.S. cryptocurrency legislation he helped draft and actively promoted on Capitol Hill, even though it would seem to support the cooperative pro-regulation industry champion role in which they're casting their client. This could be an acknowledgement that the legal battle will be fought against a political backdrop and a shrewd attempt to maintain as many potential allies as possible in a divided Congress. Now, it could also be an attempt to not piss off some very powerful people. And many of you soldiers in the comments have rightfully asked, every time we've done a Sam Bankman Fried or FTX video, have the politicians paid back their money? All right. So look, the lawyers defending him, his parents, even him, Sam Bankman Fried, these people are all very well politically connected, and they don't want to do anything that's going to alienate them among the very powerful political interests that are out there. Okay. So that's an open question. Have these politicians paid that money back? And based on what I have found so far, very little of it has gone back. Now that's based on what I've found. Okay. The real case could be different. I got to look a little deeper into it. The Justice Department has until May 29th to respond to the motions, and U.S. District Judge Kaplan will hear arguments on the dismissal request from both sides on June 15th. So we're about a month out from that. So that's where we are with the latest on Sam Bankman Fried and what he's out there doing to vigorously defend himself. And look, like I said before, I personally believe that the guy's guilty. But I also understand that anytime someone's charged with a crime, they have every right to try to defend themselves, right? Okay. He doesn't care what we think, obviously. He doesn't care if he can get to stay out of prison. Do you think he gives one scintilla of thought to how we feel about that? Absolutely not, because the man is facing substantial time in prison, and he's 30 years old. The best years of his life would be just flushed down the drain, and his prime earning years would just disappear along with his reputation. Okay, so he'd live a very different life. He's going for broke. Why not, right? All right, so listen, while you're at it, what I want you to do is check out this video. America is finished. We've got things going on in these cities around America that are just, when I look at some of the comments on that video, I just marvel at, not only is this my perception, but it's the perception of people across the country that the United States of America has fallen so far in terms of our society to where you're not getting your money's worth as a taxpayer. You're putting money into a black hole, and your government that you pay taxes to, they do not respect you. So on that video, we're going to be talking about how you can minimize that tax debt. Don't you want to minimize a debt that you might owe to somebody who's not giving you value? All right. And yes, you can do it legally, 100%. All right, guys, check out that video. I'll talk to you soon.